So if we're talking about being the new you in this now, we have to understand what is that new you, right? And the core part of the new you is the conscious sovereign being, meaning that in many experiences in the past, we could have just kind of been going through them without allowing ourselves that space for awareness, observation, and conscious response. So we may have been playing out behavioral traits, right? Responses that we got really good at for a long time, especially with family. Happens a lot with family and close friends or a spouse, someone we're with a lot for many years. We get used to when they say this, we say that, right? And when they say this, we feel that. And so those are the spaces of the deepest amount of growth, at least in my own humble experience, where I have realized that those hold spaces for me that take more of my sovereignty to truly heal and to truly navigate with grace and to truly choose to come from that higher space. And so knowing that we have that ability, awareness, observation, conscious choice, conscious living, self-mastery, that's what this is, sovereignty, knowing that we have that choice, we've been implementing it more. That's what this has been all about, being the new human. So this is fine-tuning and offering some spaces of understanding that I've gained that may assist, and that I feel I have an inner knowing on, based on spaces coming at experiences from spaces of our higher God self being. Okay, when we're talking about being your higher self now, that's the conscious being with awareness, observation, and conscious response. And so some very important things that I feel really help me anchor in and maintain are, and we've talked about some of these, but I'm not going to go back over them in depth. So we talked about just understanding everybody's at a different consciousness, and that's okay. We don't have to attach judgment to it or look for a certain outcome. We can just allow and flow, and remember to draw our attention back in to we're responsible for our own being. We cannot control how our mother, our brother, our friend, our coworker, our boss, our husband, our lover, our wife, we can't control how they're experiencing their higher self, their conscious expansion, their navigating there now, but we can do ours. And so a really big one is a recognizing in the experiences as it's happening. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy. And I don't want it to come off as if I'm saying it is. When you're in a space of learning something and implementing something that is newer to your being, and you don't have a habit formed on it yet, it takes time, and it takes that repetitive consistency to solidify it. And the thing that we sometimes forget to allow compassion and space for in our own beings is we're not only implementing and being consistent in a new way, but at the same time, we're asking ourselves to be aware enough and observe enough to pull out the old way. So there's more than one thing going on here. And that's why they call it self-mastery, because you really are mastering all of the spaces of the self, uninstalling the things, the cycles, the behavioral traits that don't align with the highest spaces where you want to align with energetically, and then installing, implementing consistently, even when the outside experience isn't aligning or matching yet visually, right? Or the energy's not being felt yet. We're still implementing the new alignment. And I mentioned this in a class, it might have been last week, but it's a powerful line. And it's that what we see in front of us is usually an energetic alignment that can still be connected with spaces we were dealing with or thinking about or had experienced yesterday or the day before, depending upon how much energy and focus we've given them. And this man said something like, if we could get really good at ignoring the physical visual in front of us, acknowledging it as yesterday's news that's just leaving, and not feeding it as giving it our focus as it being a now, but actually seeing it get a good. He actually used the words "get good at ignoring yesterday's news," something like that. And I really liked that. I hadn't heard somebody say it that way before, but I really personally I liked that. And it's true. All of a sudden, this that you look at and this that you experience shifts. And just one day, I remember I was in the shower when it happened for me. And it was, I think, maybe 2019 or 18. But I just was like, oh my gosh, what I'm looking at is everything I've been consistently implementing. I was like, what? I was so excited and happy that I could actually, I just got so good at staying in a space of non-attachment and non-judgment that I wasn't really even ever, I just all of a sudden realized like, wow, it's like really there too. It's actually there and here and here. And that was a pretty cool moment. So it does happen. And then there's realignment along the way when large spaces that maybe, hold really deep rooted cycle behavior, usually they're family based, when they come up to clear, and then everything even goes to a higher level because of that. But in the middle of the clearing space where they're coming up and they're just saying, are you going to continue to align with this? Do you want to continue to do this space energetically? That helps me a lot. It helps with process, and it allows me to go into the awareness, observation, and sovereign conscious choice. So allowing ourselves to kind of have that space in our minds that, where we can say, this could be yesterday's news. It doesn't have to be today's or tomorrow's.